Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. I hope you're all doing well. I know what you will say. Beppe, we were missing the Juve news, and it's not because the focus on the channel in the last few days was on the World Cup that is starting tomorrow, by the way, that we forget about Juventus. And no, absolutely not. Why? Because Juventus is still here. Here, in my brain, in my thoughts, when I go to sleep, I'm thinking about Juventus. It is what it is, but it's also here. In my heart, my beloved Juventus. I will never forget. I try to have the news, the fresh news about Juventus to keep myself entertained, informed, and up to date with everything what's going on. And there is one name that I really want to discuss about with you today. It's SERGEJ MILINKOVIC-SAVIC. It's true, in the last few days we were reading about a lot of names. We were speaking about some fullbacks on the left, on the right. The last few days we were really speaking about the right side of the field with maybe a Karsdorp or maybe coming back from Cambiaso from Bologna and so on. That is the priority for Juventus for the winter. They also spoke about Vicario, goalkeeper, and maybe a left back, Grimaldo, for example, even if it will be really tough to sign Grimaldo from Benfica in the winter session that is starting, I repeat for the people that do not know, on the 1st of January, and it will last for 1 month. We are already in Mercato, but there is one name, guys, one name that is back. Today he made the front page of Tuttosport. We are speaking about Milinkovic-Savic. Today Tuttosport, they said Milinkovic-Juve si riapre così. They are opening it again in that way. SERGEJ Milinkovic-Savic, it's not the first time that is on the front page of Tuttosport regarding a transfer or a possible transfer to Juventus. I will tell you, you know what? Shocking news for the people that are still there in the beginning of the video that didn't skip. I'm not sure anymore if I want SERGEJ at Juventus. Shocking news, I know, because if you are following the channel since the beginning of the channel, speaking about 3 years, every time that we said and that we mentioned the name of the Serbian player of 27 years, every time we mentioned him, I was going totally crazy, because this is the missing link of our beloved Juventus in our midfield, the one to finally complete it with really physical, strong players. One player that is really offensive, that knows how to go with free kicks, that knows how to assist, who knows how to score. A player that I was dreaming about. At a certain point, I was even preferring him over Paul Pogba. At a certain moment, I said on the channel, I believe it was during a live, I said, you know what, instead of going for Pogba, that we know with injury, the age, the salary, and this, why not giving up on Pogba and going all in for SERGEJ Milinkovic-Savic? Juventus, they didn't listen to me, they went for Pogba. I was super happy, I celebrated, and I can't wait to see Paul Pogba. That will be a new signing for January on the field. I was waiting for 6 years, I have him back, so I need to see him. I deserve to see him, we deserve to see him. But then they also spoke about why not SERGEJ plus Paul. Why only one? Why not two? So we have to go back in time, and then I will tell you why I'm not sure anymore about SERGEJ Milinkovic-Savic. We have to go back in time. This summer, Juventus signed Pogba, they are super happy. They come back at La Continassa with an injured Pogba, and they start having doubts. We need another box-to-box player, a new mezzala. They try to speak with a lot of agents. The thoughts of Juventus, of the Mercato, is again on SERGEJ Milinkovic-Savic. But Allegri, speaking with the management, he said, you know what, we have a problem, because the left side, as we all said, is still a problem. That's why, and that's when we signed Kostic. We waited really long before signing Kostic. Maybe today we know why, because Juventus was waiting what to do. The first initial prognosis of Pogba coming back was October. So Juventus said, you know what, Pogba will be back in October. We have a big problem on the left side of the field. Let's go there. And Locatelli, that is absolutely not performing at the moment as a regista, we need one. And we will go for Paredes on loan. We are obliged to go lower in terms of salary. That's a good solution. We found nearly an agreement for SMS. It was 50 million, 55 million euro for Lazio, plus 10 to 15 million in terms of bonuses for the player that has the contract until 2024. The salary for SERGEJ was 5.5 plus 1.5 of bonuses is a total package of 7. We found everything, but at the end it collapsed. We all know that Pogba didn't come back in October, so we are here. And why am I saying today that SERGEJ is a player that I'm not sure that I want him at Juventus? We are speaking, of course, about him coming to Juve with Rabiot leaving for free at the end of the summer when the season will be over. Then, if a miracle happened in the winter that Chelsea spent 20 million for Rabiot and we go and buy SERGEJ MILINKOVIC-SAVIC, that's another story. But here we are speaking about the next session of the Mercato, not the winter one, but the summer one, 23-24. So, SERGEJ MILINKOVIC-SAVIC, we have to know that he's 27, he's born in February, so that means that he will be 28. 28 when Juventus go potentially to sign him. We know that he's a player that we have to pay. Lotito is, of course, exaggerating, asking with a lot of money. He's asking 100 or 120 million for the player. We are sure, as the people are reporting, that's a player that will be probably sold around 70 million. Imagine, between 60 and 70 million for the Serbian player. Serbian player that will be 28. You offer him at least a 5-year contract. 28 plus 5, that means that he will remain at Juventus until 33 years. Old player that at the end of his contract will not be sellable anymore because you spent a lot of money for the Serbian player. That money will disappear and you will never cash in anymore if he remains 5 years with you. In terms of salary, at least 6 million salary, and you know, because it's not coming from a foreign country, that means that you have to pay him gross salary for Juventus 13 million. That's a lot of money. 30 million, especially if you are going for another player that is playing in another country that is not Italy since at least 2 years. Well, for 13 million, 13.5, you can give a player 9 million salary. So we are speaking about a real top player. Then you're telling me, Beppe, but SERGEJ is a top player, and you are not wrong in that way. He's playing at Lazio since 15-16, so it's already a lot of season that he's playing there. He comes from Genk, where he played 1 season in the Jupiler League in Belgium, where he did fantastically well. Lazio bought him for 1 million, and they had a fantastic player. The problem with SERGEJ is that we are still waiting the final boom of SERGEJ MILINKOVIC-SAVIC on international level, and at today we were not able to see him. He played only at Lazio, that with all the respect has different objectives at Juventus. It's not the same team. If Juventus wants to win Serie A, if they want to compete in Champions League, well, Lazio wants to go into the top 4 and they want to play Champions League, well, it's totally different. Of course, because of a lot of reasons, in terms of the finances, in terms of history of the club, in terms of ambition, and so on, structure and whatever you want. SERGEJ, when he had the opportunity to leave or to go towards the end of his contract, he renewed. We saw him one day at really important international level. It was at the World Cup, where he played at the moment only 3 games at the World Cup, and it was in 2018. A lot of expectations were on the player that was doing quite well in Serie A. Juventus was already on him. Lotito wanted at the time 120 million. He flopped. He played 3 games and he flopped these games at the World Cup 2018. 2022 will be a big test for the Serbian player, to test him, because if you're looking at his experience in Champions League, he only played 7 games at the moment in his total career. 7 plus, if we want to, 1 game of qualification to the Champions League. So 7/8 games in Champions League. In Europa League, he played 38 with 7 goals and 5 assists. That's it. That's the curriculum of the Serbian player. Then you tell me, Beppe, but he's a fantastic player. We want him. You always said that we wanted him. Guys, if Juventus sign SERGEJ tomorrow or at the end of the summer, I'm happy, I'm celebrating, because he's a fantastic player. But today, if I was in the management of Juventus, I would tell them, attenzione, it's a player that looks like when he needs really to show that he has ambition, that he wants to, that grinta DNA, well, he disappeared a bit. We saw it with the World Cup in 2018, and this time will be a big test. We saw it when he had to leave maybe Lazio, going out of his comfort zone to go in a bigger team, and he left. He signed again an extension to the contract with Lazio. Now he's still there in his comfort zone and he's okay with it, and he's playing really well on the right side of the field, and that's all good. Then I have another problem, and that's the last problem before closing the video. Today we have Pogba, Locatelli, Fagioli, Miretti, and they will be there tomorrow. And then we have 3 question marks: Paredes, McKennie, Rabiot. What will happen with these 3 players? Will Paredes go back to Paris Saint-Germain? At the moment, he deserves to go back. He doesn't deserve to stay at Juventus. McKennie, a lot of voices around him. Rabiot, out of contract. He will probably leave. He will not extend, especially not with the money that he's asking. So we need another player. But it should be not a player that comes and take away the chances of a Fagioli that's doing extraordinarily well. Because Pogba will play. Locatelli, we should find a spot for him. What about Fagioli? What about Miretti? Without forgetting that Rovella should go back. Ranocchia should go back. Two players that are at Monza today. I don't know if they will all stay or not, but what about these young players? If we want to give them a chance, if we want to save money, this is the easiest way to do. Fagioli, Miretti, believe in them. Rovella, give him a chance. And we don't have to forget that Arthur will come back. Zakaria will come back because no way Liverpool and Chelsea will extend them. Maybe a few chances for Zakaria, even if I don't believe in them. But that means that tomorrow, without SERGEJ MILINKOVIC-SAVIC, we will have 11 players. Rabiot leaving for sure. It's 10. What about Paredes? What about McKennie? We need to address these things because otherwise, SERGEJ or not SERGEJ, you will add more players there in the midfield, taking away chances for our young stars, Fagioli, Miretti and so on. They will have less playing time and we will never grow. And that's a problem why today I'm not sure. In terms of salary, in terms of the fact that you are signing a 28 years old for 5 years that you will not be able to sell anymore. A player that never showed us in terms of ambition. Then of course, the skills are fantastic. The skills are fantastic of the player. It's a dream player. I love him. I always take him at Fantasy League. But I have my doubts. I really have my serious doubts about SERGEJ MILINKOVIC-SAVIC. Is he the player that we need? Or maybe we should go for another player, a much cheaper player, a bit more younger, a bit more with ambition that really want to go there. Hey, I don't know. I'm in trouble. I'm thinking about it. But today, my feeling about MILINKOVIC-SAVIC is not 100%. Let's go for it. And it's really strange because we are speaking about a fantastic player. Guys, let me know what you think about it. If I'm totally wrong, or if some things that I'm saying make sense. Subscribe, put a maximum of like, grazie, forza, Juve.